Ed Bryant. He is our finance director. We are somewhat of a unique entity for Metro. We are a regional entity, which means we operate federally funded workforce development programs in 4 counties in Middle Tennessee. We have Davidson, Rutherford, Wilson, and Trousdale counties. Total population of a little over 1 million people, with about 538,000 people in the workforce. As a federally funded agency, as we sit here today, our budget for next year is unknown. We have actually planned for level funding. Based on what the federal government has put out for the state, it appears the state's going to lose about 3% to 4% total funding. There's an in-state formula that the state is required to run that funds us, so we may take 3 to 4% budget reduction, or it may go up. Last year, we went up 34% in our dislocated worker program just from the shifts of populations and unemployed in the area. We had, last year, as you know, the 2 things that we focus our budget numbers on are our scholarship program and career development. Last year we had 2,084 people that we provided scholarships for in the 4-county region. This year, with the budget cuts that we are anticipating, the loss of the Recovery Act from last year, and part of the budget process at the federal government removed 10% of the state's set-aside funding that we had used for several years to prop up the scholarship program. So we in turn could probably lose some more in our scholarship, but we're still anticipating over 1,000 scholarships that we'll issue this year. Okay.
And in terms of the Metro contribution to your budget, I see just from the 2% reductions, that amounts to really less than $2,000.
Yes, sir. I wasn't avoiding it intentionally, but $1,900 is the 2% reduction on a $7 million to $8 million budget. So it's $95,300 was last year, so 2% roughly from that. And I don't want to minimize the money. We put 50 youth every year in an internship program with that money. Without it, we wouldn't be able to do it. And it also helps offset, luckily interest rates have been so low for several years. When interest is charged to a federal grant, is a disallowed cost, so we basically use some of that money to pay Metro back any interest expense that we may occur. So because of interest rates right now and a few other cuts, the $1,900 is something we will absorb. Our bigger issue is what happens with the federal budget.
And when do you think you're in the same position as others?
We are hopeful. Today, actually, we have asked the state, without getting into too much weeds with it, when they run the formula, our agency gets a % of the overall money. So we're asked if they will run it, not knowing the money yet, but if you will tell us if our % under the formula goes up or down, we can do the math from there to figure out kind of where the budget is. And our business, like a lot of my counterparts that run a lot of federal grant programs, we can't be looking 3 months out. We have to be looking 12 to 18 months out for stability. So right now we are funded. This budget will fund us through June 30th of 2013 that we're at, with the super committee not reaching an agreement at the federal level, whether there's a sequestration, and whether that has an impact we don't know, which could be an 8 to 9% cut in the middle of the year, which would be, for us, would actually be a rescission. So we're planning for every one of the contingencies, as we've talked every year. Understanding we are a federally funded agency, we try to make plans and live within our means and not ask Metro to do anything other than the $95,000, the supplement that they've given.
All right. Well, I mean, you do a great job, and it's important work, and you have my sympathy as you go through this. But this seems to be the case almost every year now, that there's a lot of uncertainty with federal funding. Rich, you got any questions?
No.
Greg?
No.
All right. Thank you, Paul. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Thank you, Rick.